discussed about the income tax. What is income tax and what are the income heads are there? And the previous class, the teacher have discussed about the 5 heads of income. The basic introduction have given in the last class. Now, in this class, we are going to discuss about the salary. It is a main income in the Income Tax Act. So, first we should know what is what is salary in case of the Income Tax Act. So, in case of salary, any remuneration paid by an employer to his employee in consideration of the service is called salary. So under the Income Tax Act, I come ahead. The salary includes, or the definition of the salary means any remuneration paid by an employer to his employee in consideration of his service. And it includes 2 or 3 items. Under section 15 discusses the provisions for the salary. The first one is the salary due from an employer or from a former employer, whether it is due or not, it is considered as salary. I come again. The first point is the salary is due from an employer or from a previous employer. It may be whether it is due or not, whether it is paid or not, it is included in the salary under the Income Tax Act. The second one is the salary paid or allowed by the employer to his employee should be in the previous year, and also on behalf of the employer or a former employer, though it is not due, it is included in the head of salary. So in the previous year only the salary should be earned from the employer by the employee, and whether it is by the present employer or from the previous or the former employer, and it is earned in the previous year, it is included in the head salary. The next one is any arrear of salary paid or allowed to him in the previous year by or on behalf of an employer or a former employer, if not charged in income tax for any earlier previous year, that will be included in the current previous year. If any arrears of salary, if it is not included in any preceding previous year, when it is earned, when it is due, if it is earned in the current previous year, it is included in the current previous year. Next one is place of accrual of salary. Place of accrual of salary is where the person, salaried person, what are the situations a salaried person's place will be accrued. The first one is if any income taxable under the head salary is earned in India, that is the person who is working in India and also he is earning salary in India only. That is first one. Second one, if a person employed in India goes on leave outside the country and draws his salary for the leave period. If a person who is working in India and he is going abroad for entertaining his leave and he is getting salary there in outside India, is also included in the head of the salary. Third one is if a person after having served in India and he retires and settled in outside India, he is getting the salary benefit in the form of pension, that is also included in the head of the salary. The fourth head is in the case of citizen of an India who is a government employee who is appointed as a government duty in outside country, he is getting any salary in outside India and it is earned in India, the salary will be included in the head salaries. The amount earned by the person who is in outside India, the person who is appointed by the government of India for the performance of the official duty, that is also included in the part of the head salary. And if a person who is working in outside country and also he is getting any perquisites or allowances, that will be fully exempted. But in the form of salary, if he is getting anything, that will be taxable under the Act, Income Tax Act. Next, the salary includes any wages, any annuity or pensions. The pension may be commuted pensions or uncommuted pensions. Commuted pension is nothing but the lump sum amount received as a pension. Uncommuted pension is the amount which will be received in the installment basis, that is called uncommuted pensions. The third category is any fees or commission Perquisites are the profit in lieu of salary. Profit in lieu of salary means if it is not coming under any salary, bonus or commission or any other category, that will be included in the category of profit in lieu of salary. Say for example, gratuity, retrenchment compensation, voluntary compensation, these items, and also if suppose any perquisites, if any benefit is received by the employee from the employer, which is also included in the head salaries. And any advance of salary is called, it is also included in the head salary. The next one is any payment received by an employee in respect of any period of leave. If suppose casual leave and also medical leave will be allowed to the all government and also private employees. If he is not making use of his leave, he will get a salary for the leave which is not used. That is called leave encashment. So that leave encashment may be received during his service or at the time of retirement. So leave encashment is also included in the head of the salary. Next one is the annual accretion balance by the credit of any employee. It is nothing but every employee have to contribute some provident fund to his employees, and if it is exceeding 12%, that will be fully taxable, and also the interest on such provident fund, it is exceeding 9.5%, that is also fully taxable. So it is called recognized provident fund. According to the Income Tax Act, every employer have to contribute to the RPF, recognized provident fund, for their employees. So that fund should not exceed 12% of the salary. If it is exceed, it will be fully taxable. And all the interest on such provident fund is exceeding 9.5%, that is also fully taxable. The next one is the contribution made by the government or the employer in the previous year to the account of an employee under a pension scheme. If suppose if a government employer or maybe a private employer, he is contributing some amount to his employee in the form of pension, that is also included in the head of the salary. Next thing we are going to discuss about components of salary. What are all the items will include in the part of salary for the income tax purpose? The first one is basic salary. The basic salary is a basic amount will be given as a salary. Allowances. Allowances is a fixed, regular and monthly amount will be given by the employer to the employee to meet up the particular expenses, that is called allowances. Perquisites is also a form of monetary contributions given by the employer to the employee, but in the form of kind, not in the form of the cash. So benefit in kind is simply called as perquisites. And profit in lieu of salary includes gratuity, pension, like that. And it should be deduct the total combination of that amount, and for the computation of taxable salary we should deduct the entertainment allowance and the employment tax. The remaining answer will be considered as a taxable salary. The next one is different forms of salary. So what all items can be considered as a salary? The first one is leave salary. If the employee is not making use of his leave during his service, he may get salary for the leave period. That is called the leave encashment. That is coming under leave salary. It is included in this salary. Second one is compensation for the retrenchment. Sometimes the employer or employer company, for the purpose of mechanization or for the purpose of giving chance to the younger ones, they may force the existing employees to get voluntary retirement. So the employer is forcing the employees to get the voluntary retirement, that is called retrenchment. For that retrenchment, the employer have to give some compensation amount to the employee, that is called compensation for the retrenchment. It is also included in this salary. Next one is fees and commission or any kind of bonus include salary. Death cum retirement gratuity. Gratuity is a lump sum amount given by the employer to the employee at the time of retirement. The gratuity will be given only at the time of retirement. If a government employee is getting gratuity, it is fully exempted. If a private employee is getting gratuity, it is exempted up to specified limit. Next one is commutation of pension. Receipts by employees of public sector and other companies at the time of voluntary retirement. If an employee, without any force of the employer, he is getting voluntary retirement from the employer company, for that also he is getting some benefit amount. That amount will also be included in the salary. And any annuity amount is nothing but it may be recognized to provident funds or any kind of funds accreted amount will be considered as an annuity. And the salary and pension from UNO, United Nations organizations, if we are getting any salary from the UNO, that is also included in the salary, and the pension received from foreign country is also included in the head of the salary. The next one is allowances. So now we are going to discuss about what is allowances, what are the types of allowances on the allowance. Payments in cash made by the employer, so you have to note down allowance, it should be only in cash. The allowance, if it is the amount which is given by the employer, if it is in the cash is called allowance, if it is in the form of kind it is called perquisites. Payments in cash made by the employer to his employees monthly other than salary is called an allowance. It is fixed sum of money paid regularly in addition to salary for the purpose of meeting some particular requirement. So allowance, which is the amount given by the employer to meet out the particular expenses of the employee. It may be house rent allowance, it may be tiffin allowance, it may be marriage allowance. So like that, there are many types of allowances are there. For the purpose of income tax, the allowances can be classified into three categories. The first one is taxable allowances. Fully taxable allowances. The first one is dearness allowance. Which kind of allowance will be given by the employer to the employee for the purpose of meeting the rising the price levels. That is called dearness allowance. If a dearness allowance is converted into the basic salary, that is called dearness pay. Then city compensatory allowance, if you are living in metropolitan city or any kind of city, so to meet out the city expenses, that the expenses will be given, the allowances will be given as a city compensatory allowance. And if there is any fixed medical allowance given by the employer, also called fully taxable allowances. Tiffin allowance given for the lunch or the refreshment of the employees, and servant allowance. If a servant allowance allowed, if it is given to any cadre of employee, that is fully taxable. Non-practicing allowance. If a government doctor, according to the income tax or according to our rules and regulations, a government doctor should not practice in private. So he is banned from doing his private practice. So for that ban, the compensation, the allowances will be given by the employer, by the government. That is called non-practicing allowance. Hill allowance, the cost of living or the cost of products and services will be high in case of hill stations when comparing with the plain stations. To meet up such expenses, the hill allowance will be given. And the warden allowance or the proctor allowance is nothing but the allowances given to the hostel wardens, that is also fully taxable. Then deputation allowance, if an permanent employee for time period, for some period, for the temporary purpose, he is transferred to some other place for his performing his duties, that is called, for that purpose he is deputed for some other work. For deputation, the allowance will be given is called deputation allowance. Then overtime allowance, if an employee is working more than his working hours, overtime allowance will be given. Then other allowances unless specifically exempt. So in second category, there are partly taxable allowances are there. So the partly taxable allowances is the last category. Next one is partly taxable. So partly taxable allowances are, it will not be fully taxable, but only the part of the amount will be taxable under the Income Tax Act. The first one is house rent allowance. So the house rent allowance or the HRA given by the employer to his employees to meet out the residential rent of the residential accommodation. So HRA is nothing but the employer will give some allowances to his employees to meet out the rent of the residential accommodation, that is called HRA. The next one is entertainment allowance, which is given, it can be included in the salary and also it can be deducted as under section 16 subsection 2. And then special allowances. The special allowances can be described into two categories, that is section 10 subsection 14 category 1 section 1, and that is the special allowances given to meet out the official expenses. So the first one is traveling allowance. Traveling allowance, if a person is transferred from one office to another office, from one place to another place, for transferring and packing charges will be given as allowance, that is called traveling allowance. Next one, daily allowance. If a person is going for the official to meet out the daily expenses, the daily allowances will be given. The next one is conveyance allowance for the performance of official duty. Conveyance is for the transport or for any kind of conveyances, two-wheeler conveyances or maybe car conveyances. The conveyance expenses will be made out by the employer. Such kind of allowance is called conveyance allowances. The next one is academic allowance. If any allowance is given for the improvement of the research or improvement of academic level of the employee is called academic allowance. Say for example, a university professor may be given academic allowances for improving his research work. That allowance is called academic allowance. Uniform allowance. In some situations, the employees are supposed to wear uniform and maintain the uniform. To preparation of the uniform and also to maintenance of the uniform, this uniform allowance will be given. The next one is on all these categories, that is special allowance given for meet out official expenses or exempted up to the actual amount spent. That is, I come behind. The special allowances to meet out the official expenses are exempted up to the actual amount spent by the employee. Say for example, in case of conveyance allowance, if employer is giving 500 per month as a conveyance allowance, but every month a employee is utilizing only 200 rupees. So the 300 rupees remaining will be taxable and the actual amount spent 200 per month will be taxable, will be exempted under the head. The special allowance is second category. Special allowance is given to meet out the personal expenses. The first one is special hill compensatory allowance, high altitude allowance, uncongenial climate allowance, snowbound area allowance and avalanche allowance. These are allowances are taxable up to specified limit. Border area allowance, remote locality allowance, difficult area allowance, disturbed area allowance. This is also taxable up to the specified limit. The special compensatory allowances for the scheduled or the tribal areas and the allowances for the employee working in any transport system. So in case of transport system, employee is working in a transport system. In case the amount will be taxable, 70% of the amount or rupees 10,000 per month, whichever is less will be considered as an exempted one. Children's education allowance, the employee may give employees of children's for the improvement of the educations of the children's of employees. So the 100 per month per child, maximum 2 children will be allowed. And hostel allowance, children's hostel allowance is nothing but 300 per month will be given per child and maximum 2 children is allowed to meet up the hostel expenses of children of employees. Then transport allowance, from the place of residence till the place of duty, the transport allowance will be given. That is also taxable. Underground allowance, the transport allowance will be taxable 800 per month in case of normal persons and 1600 per month in case of the disabled persons. Then underground allowance is also taxable and it is exempted up to 800 per month. The special allowances to the members of armed forces is also coming under the partly taxable allowances. The last category is fully exempted allowances. If an employee is getting any form of this allowance, it is fully exempted from the tax. Fully exempted is nothing but he need not to pay a single rupee as a tax for the income tax. The first one is foreign allowance. If a person who is working in India and he is transferred to outside India for performance of his duty, and if he is getting any allowances there in outside country like car allowance, children's education allowance and any kind of perquisites will be fully exempted from the tax. Next one is the allowances given to High Court or the Supreme Court judges also fully exempted. And also the allowances received by the members of UNO, United Nations Organizations members also, if they are getting any allowances, that is also fully exempted. And the next one is 10-time allowance for use of hotel, boarding and lodging. So the whatever amount they receive, that will be fully exempted from the tax. Thank you.